Good morning. My name is Helena Belchior Rocha, as it has said before, and it is a privilege for me to be here today. And I would like to begin by thanking for the invitation, mainly because my area of research is not in the field of chemistry at all. Nevertheless, I bring you in my presentation a Symbiosity model for sustainable urban development. So I am from Portugal and I am a professor and researcher at ISCTE-University Institute of Lisbon. And ISCTE is a public university created in 1972, specialized in the areas of business sciences, social sciences, technologies, and architecture. And it is located on the campus of the University City of Lisbon. I work in the Department of Political Sciences and Public Policies, and since 2010 I've dedicated my research work to ecological sustainability and how important is an environmental mindset for the future. So to bring social sciences to a conference of natural sciences, you can imagine the challenge and how I'm out of my comfort zone. I wanted to participate, but at the same time, I couldn't see how to combine these two subjects and areas of research. Nevertheless, ecology brings an holistic view to research, and somehow I knew that chemistry is everywhere around us and inside us, and that everything exists because of chemistry, even the air we breathe. So I remembered in high school, I learned that chemists separate the components of materials, study their properties such as color, smell, hardness, shape, consistency, and what will happen if we put them in contact with other materials and for what purpose they can be used. However, in our daily conversations on the packing of products we buy in the television programs, newspapers, the internet, and other media, chemistry is mentioned as something bad that harms environment and our health. For example, the human being has thought more and more energy, and often to do this, he ends up by taking many resources from nature polluting it. So in my reflection, and like everything else, chemistry will be good if humanity is good and if it is used for beneficial purposes and peaceful ends. On the contrary, if it is used only to satisfy immediate needs without thinking of other people, nature, and the future, then chemistry will be bad. The fact is that there is nothing we can imagine that is not related to chemistry, and many environmental problems that exist today are also studied by people working with chemistry who are looking for ways to solve these problems. And finally, I found the 12 principles of green chemistry. And when I looked, I thought that the best practices clearly illustrate that sustainability brings about much more positive change than just dealing with environmental or social issues in the vacuum. When I was doing my PhD in ecological sustainability of vulnerable communities, I talked with several colleagues of other areas, architects and engineers, about urban regeneration, because I believe in an inter-multidisciplinary approach, in teamwork, and I wanted to create an eco-social model for community intervention that could have multifocal vision through an empowerment approach in which communities and their partners will be co-authors in a participative process of collective construction of integrated and sustainable development models. First, I realized that sustainable planning should be made differently from the ones we were used to, especially because of its more specific characteristics, which include the connection to a long-term decision-making process and with an holistic vision integrating various areas of knowledge, interests, and analytical approaches. A new vision of the importance of the place, a proactive involvement in the recovery of societies and ecosystems simultaneously. Secondly, that the idea of sustainability is full of contradictions, diffuse and multidimensional. Although it conceives human well-being as fundamental, this is an ethical responsibility, but there was no indications for the practice. considering that problems are transversal, so the object of study usually in social science is the same, and the cooperation between different areas in the use of research techniques allows a closer view of reality, creates a space for dialogue and shared objectives. In addition, the fact that sustainability is not a sealed issue, it is a continuous process, so we have to work on it over time, and this should be where social intervention could contribute for prevention and not only in social assistance. Despite the common goals in working in multidisciplinary teams is not always easy because the looks are different. For example, architects and engineers are concerned with urban space, requalification, rehabilitation of buildings, public space, maintenance, and my concern is with population needs and well-being, with their empowerment to be participative and informed citizens, and that after the other areas give their contribution through planning, construction, etc., it is ensured that sustainability on that community maintenance, and as such all stakeholders have to be involved. There is general acceptance about the need to create more sustainable communities by building self-sufficient neighborhoods, with eco-neighborhoods being those that can achieve this purpose. As at a political level was created through the Council of Ministers resolution in May 2000, the policy program, urban upgrading and environmental valorization of cities, which set out to play a mobilizing and enhancing role in initiatives aimed at urban and environmental qualification of cities, with the objective of improving the quality of life in the cities through interventions in urban and environmental areas. So the eco-neighborhood concept was mentioned, but the complexity of policies, whether for sustainable urban planning, social housing, rehousing, or urban regeneration, convey a sense of constant paradox. They mobilize and expend high public and private resources, but their implementation may have an inclusive or exclusive character, impact on a collective well-being or well-being on the future generations. And for that, I went to explore and analyze the social housing situation in Europe. In 2012, I was in the Congress in Sweden, and I find Hammarby-Storgatan neighborhood. The Hammarby-Storgatan is a suburb of Stockholm city. And it used to be a port area with office buildings and port activities where small and medium scale, later large scale industries were established. And on the Sikla, Ude Peninsula, illegal parallel activities and economy were developing. So this area became heavily polluted by toxic substances, which contaminated the soil and water. Nevertheless, the pollution was not seen as a major obstacle. It was considered a reason to effectively treat the contaminated soil and remove the toxic substances to transform it into a modern, ecological, sustainable neighborhood. So the Hammarby-Storgatan project is one of the world's most recognized success stories in the development of a fully integrated sustainable district. Also, I heard about the Symbiosity conceptual model, and I came back in 2013 to talk with the person in charge of the project in the communication center, Eric Fredenthal. I wanted to know because I realized that this conceptual model was in line with what I could add to the construction of my intervention model as a possible answer for sustainability of communities. Of course, I won't be able to explain it in your technical scientific language, but I think I can leave an open door to be explored by green chemistry researchers and say that the person in charge of the Hammarby project gets a lot of people to explain how this whole process is done so that it can be replicated and explored. Symbiosity is an holistic and inclusive approach for urban development that transforms urban challenges into opportunities. The objectives of this program follow the standards of the 19th, decontamination and use of already built up land, sustainable building materials, emphasizes on public transport, limit noise to 45 decibels through the building system, and optimizing energy, water, and waste services. The concept of Symbiosity is very simple and has to do with the idea of transforming neighborhoods into communities, smart eco-neighborhoods, where people can live, work, and prosper without the need to move to another part of the city or beyond. Due reducing the ecological footprint inherent in that displacement. It is not about enclosing people in ghettos, just about making mobility an option and not a necessity. Sustainable cities will be made of set of neighborhoods with a strong identity and autonomous centers with a multiplicity of facilities, sports, culture, leisure facilities, and public services, so that people do not feel the need to move in their daily lives. Although these issues aren't seen as district problems in research fields and policy, they are connected, requiring a holistic approach to solution. So the Symbiosity approach supports cities in planning sustainability and identifying inclusive and innovative solutions to urban challenge through synergies between different urban systems. In December 2015, and with the renewed support from SIDA, SKL International started up the global Symbiosity approach 2.0 of the program. The main objective was to improve health, safety, comfort, and quality of life for poor people living in urban areas, to address urban challenges related to sustainability and resilience within the context of the Global Plan for Sustainable Cities and the Global Program on Nature-Based Solutions for Climate Resilience, aim to bring together leading policymakers, practitioners, and experts to share knowledge and help urban areas integrate climate and biodiversity concerns into urban development projects and investments. Cities all over the world are increasingly pursuing green sustainability agendas to grow their economies while working with reduced carbon footprints and avoid biodiversity loss. Moreover, cities are uniquely positioned to deliver green recovery after crisis and provide the foundation of resilience. In fact, the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the need for open green spaces in cities and access to urban nature, providing insights into future planning and policies. So this approach helps us to understand how to be able to manage urban development in a way that is inclusive, holistic, and a matter for all citizens. Understand integrated and holistic planning so as to be able to identify those synergies between these urban systems, and then understand how to manage change through multi-level collaboration and be able to use Symbiosity approach to improve the process and the results of urban change projects. A basic component is the eco-cycle model, where it is thought to reduce use of resources and the pollutant loads by creating cycles where material, water are recycled to the largest possible extent or used in the generation of energy. To achieve material reuse and extensive sorting has been proposed. Different alternatives of treated water reuse have been analyzed. Stormwater detention has been extensively applied in order to reduce peak run and promote groundwater recharge. It seeks synergies between the urban systems and structures that we use in our everyday life, such as water, energy, waste, transport, and traffic, buildings and architecture, information, technology, landscaping, and social. So this program promotes sustainable mobility, the reduction of energy consumption, nature protection and respect for biodiversity, the separation and recycling of waste, and improving the quality of the urban environment. Symbiosity is the concept that dominates the sustainable city life. The term emerged in Sweden in 2008. It is an approach in which the city and its inhabitants must remake the most available resources and reduce waste. It started to expand and be adopted in China, India, Canada, and South Africa. involves different stakeholders in the quality of decision-making, participants, associates, taxpayers, etc. Aims to promote cooperation and sharing rather than competition with others and focus on common goals and interests. Furthermore, it is an approach that emphasizes a multidisciplinary approach with the aim of analyzing the various perspectives in order to identify the synergies between them. And integrated them in the planning framework. This requires a process based on transparency and openness, allowing the management of institutional barriers or conflicts of interest. It is an unprecedented planning work in the face of the tremendous challenges, and many governments, the private sector, academia, and communities have demonstrated creativity in responses and new forms of collaboration. So sustainability and green chemistry, in a very simple term, of course, is a way of thinking about how chemistry and chemical engineer research can help when thinking about the design, development, and implementation of chemical products and processes by finding creative and innovative ways to reduce waste, conserve energy, and discover replacements for hazardous substances as well as the other materials. We grew up being told that working in environmental fields is a dream that is not accomplished. But as we start to realize that the world that we live in isn't sustainable and that corporation will stop making money if we lose the planet, the attention to environmental growth. So too the awareness of how it impacts on marginalized communities. Environmental issues are not just environmental issues, but rather one view to help address other issues in society. It is about finding solutions for the planet we are on, also finding solutions for the people being most negatively impacted, and it is leave no one behind, like the Sustainable Development Goals said. When Amerbai Stojas is completed, the residents themselves will be responsible for the energy, the district heating and district cooling, the biogas and fertilizers, and the solar cells and solar panels. So for social intervention, municipal social action is structured around the promotion of local social development, having as allies civil society organizations in partnership and or network with non-profit organizations mobilized to promote access to social equipment, responses, and resources. But the operationalization of social action at territorial level is not disconnecting from the welfare models adopted by the states, from the debate on the meaning of community action, and also from the analysis and understanding of problems in their interrelationship with the global and national levels, and with the economical, culture, and political dimensions inherent in these two levels. But cities are the centers of consumption and production, and the cultural values, norms, social practice, and lifestyles of those inhabiting the city will influence the reuse, recycling, and recovery of resources, pollution and environmental degradation in urban areas, and this can also create a challenge for secular actions. In the political context, the political of Stockholm has been altered and can be altered anywhere. And this put at risk projects like this one. The continuous character of these projects is the mainly issue that can stop or giving the possibility of going forward. So if we have to deal with this kind of issues, none of the projects will be so fast as the life that we are living in. What do I find that Symbiosity approach has in relation with my eco-social model, because it's based on an ecological perspective that provides a holistic look of the phenomenon that occurs at various levels of society within different systems, because the key concept is the same, is interrelation, in which each system operates interconnection interconnected to the function of other systems, and it is the combination of systems, concepts, and ecological framework. It is a theory that serves as bridge between professionals from different fields and for the field research and practice, and it is a possibility of a never-ending relation connection among research and the professional practice. And this meaning for vulnerable communities lies on human rights, citizenship, respect for the minorities, preservation of life and nature, liberty and responsibility, and promotes transformation and change, respecting the rhythms of the communities, promotes the empowerment of the individuals, and meets and answer the challenges faced by social vulnerable urban communities in a complex globalized world. Thank you very much for your attention.